Let's jump to this story. We have a tweet from Libs of TikTok. This is interesting. Libs tweets, whoa, Biden reportedly invited TikTok influencers to State of the Union and gave them a list of talking points to create content on to spread propaganda for him and boost him. Check out, I'll play just a little bit of this video.
Joe Biden invited 70 influencers to view his State of the Union address in order to...
I was one of the 70 influencers that was invited, so let me spill the tea with you. So I got this message, I want to say on Monday night. So I got an email from an agency and I saw the people that were CC'd on, and I didn't recognize any of the other email addresses that were CC'd onto this invite. So essentially they were like, we'd love to have you at this like watch party, blah, blah, blah. But they just said it was like a watch party for the State of Union address, blah, 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 whatever it's called. So I'm not super political on this platform for one reason.
I'm going to skip over this next part. She just talks about work content and stuff.
Is when Biden, which is what this original creator was talking about, was when Biden was like, yo, if TikTok is going to get banned, I would totally sign on that. Hard stop, right? I was like, oh, no, absolutely not. After Biden has used TikTok to campaign certain things recently anyway, so I was like, you're full of crap. So I don't go, right? And I just kind of leave it unread. And then right at that time too, the agency was like, here's all the concept briefs of your posting. And so that's something that we do as influencers. When we have brand deals and we have sponsorships, we have these things called concept briefs. And it's all these approved talking points that we can make videos about afterwards. I didn't know that posting was like asked. It wasn't asked in the original invite. Felt really gross about it. So I was like, oh, is there like a budget for this? Like this has to be like wildly talked about with my team. Like we're not really going through this like right now, an hour before the fucking event. This is crazy. So they're like, no, we don't have a posting requirement. We just really encourage everyone to do that. So then I've been getting emails like since the event to like post on one of these talking points. Haven't answered any of them. So on all platforms that I have, TikTok and Instagram and all these things, right? I have about a little bit over 400K followers. Pretty small in the grand scheme of public figures that you all know today. So if you think about my size of following, I was invited to this to basically boost Joe Biden and his voice. Think about the people that you look up to that are high public figures that all of a sudden get into political activism. Think about if it's actually authentic or not, or if they're getting things out of it, they're being celebrated to do that, they're being paid to do that, right? Think about that.
So we had the famous moment. It was the 2016 campaign when Casey Neistat, who is the godfather of the modern vlog, endorsing Hillary Clinton. And he went on later to say he regretted doing it. And I can only assume it's paid marketing. Agencies say, we want you to advertise this message and we will pay you a lot of money. So I do think it's fascinating. As for the concept briefs thing, I'm unfamiliar with that. I've been working in this industry I've been in the internet for a long time, working with social media for 15 years and producing content and sponsored stuff for 13 years. And I've not heard that phrase concept brief, I suppose. I've gone to like brand meetings where we talk about like content that could be made. I was never referred to that way. I don't know.
I've heard it before, but only for like, here is a specific like water bottle you're promoting and here are the things you should point out about.
Yeah, but we get sponsored spots and we're just told like, no one's ever said, here's your concept brief to me. They say like, we have content we want made and here's what it is. So I understand what she's saying. I don't know. I think it's probably semantics. We get told things like, here are 5 things we think are great about the product. Put it in your own words is usually what we're told. So I think that's basically what you're referring to. And maybe, I don't know, hers is more of an official mainstream like ad agency stuff. So that's why they use the term I'm not familiar with. But there it is for you, ladies and gentlemen. 400,000 followers. I wonder what the budget was. I wonder how much she was offering. She didn't say, did she? I don't think she mentioned how much money they were offering her. This is the secret, though. When she mentions that, think of the higher profile people and what they're paid to, I don't think, or whether it's authentic or not, I don't think they're paid, actually. When celebrities say stuff like, you got to vote for Biden, it's more so they want to get invited to the party. When someone has like 400K followers, that's the real target. Because in the event that any one of them talks like this, irrelevant. This is one person with 400K followers. Sure, fine, but it won't go viral. You choose one guy with 1 billion followers, like 30 million followers. And if they decide they don't like you and they go on and go, yo, this dude's trying to pay me to endorse him, screw that guy, backfire. You find 70 influencers that have a couple 100K, a couple million. I mean, look, she got 400K. There were 70 influencers. They're targeting about 30 million. And when she comes out and says that was me, How many people actually know or care? This video from Libs of TikTok has 171,000 views. So that's the point. You want a shotgun blast spread out to minimize backlash and maximize reach. Welcome to politics, I guess.
They gave all the YouTubers an attitude for showing up to the White House. I think even you were there. Remember when Trump invited the YouTubers and social media people to the White House? And
I don't think it was YouTubers.
Oh, wasn't? I thought it was a lot of YouTubers.
So it was a lot of just personalities who were invited to go to the social media summit. I don't think there were a lot of YouTubers. But Biden probably invited YouTubers. I went because I was friends with Bill Ottman, who was CEO of Minds.com.
Right.
And Minds was invited to participate in the social media conference.
And then I just think it's funny how much grief everyone got from that. And now this stuff like this is happening. And they're like, on the left, they want this. They're like, they should be paid. Harry Sisson should be paid. All these people, the Krasensteins, I don't know what they're up to, but
Biden's constantly pulling in influencers. I mean, this is a big part of his youth outreach. I mean, let's not forget, I cannot remember the guy's name, but he did this video that went viral. He was saying a day in life of someone who works at the White House. It was when Jen Psaki was still there. The right hated it, the left loved it. They got tons of exposure for their Pride celebration, but again, the right was like, why do you have topless trans people on the lawn?
I already forgot about that.
You know, I mean, I don't know how effective influencer marketing really is for the Biden campaign, except they think they just push enough, the good will outweigh the bad. They'll talk to enough people. And I'm not an expert in the field. I can't say on the numbers like what that's doing for them. I just know that a lot of the time when we see these sort of weird cultural cracks in the Biden administration, it's often delivered to us through influencers who they have invited to events. I mean, remember they invited Dylan Mulvaney to the White House to talk about, Trans Day of Visibility or
women's
something.
issues.
I think it's all backfiring on him. I mean, you look at the polls, Gen Z is for Trump. I think it's the economy, stupid. So you can play these games all day and night and get your influencers, and sure, you'll find weird culty young people who are, you know what I think? I think there's a lot of young people who are going online. I mean, look at this. She says, I don't really get political. Her channel is about the frustrations of corporate America. And then she's like basically Biden bad is the general thesis here. Mm-hmm. I think that you might find there are going to be influencers who say things like, yeah, I totally agree with that. And then as soon as they hang up their phone, turn the camera off or whatever, they go, no way, I'm voting Trump. I'll tell you this. One of the most offensive things that I've heard quite a bit is that there are prominent celebrities who are anti-Trump who are privately bragging about voting for him. It's for real. And it's not my place to name these individuals because I have sources who are insistent on not exposing who these individuals are, which I'm not a fan of, but I have to respect the privacy of the individuals who are revealing the information and keep them out of harm's way. But there are people who are celebrities in Hollywood who hit me up and they'll say things like, hey, this dude is a huge Trump supporter. And then I'm like, but he's going on shows and TV saying Trump is bad. And they're like, oh yeah, but he wants the money. He wants the tax cuts. He wants Trump. Like,
it's all about reputation for them.
Yep.
And I think it depends on what the influencer, the person is doing. Like I remember there was a sleep consultant, like Mommy Lifestyle, whatever. Her Instagram account was taking Kara, like the woman's name, babies. And I knew people I went to high school with who paid for her like sleep training manual or something like that. And then it came out that her family had donated, like she and her husband had been contributing to Trump's campaign. And there was an effort to boycott her. Wow. This was, I think, during 2020. And I don't even know if she ever addressed it, but it was interesting. That's like, she's giving you legitimate information that's completely non-political. I mean, I guess children in some ways are political, but like, this is how you help your child learn to get into the rhythm of sleeping. Right. And you want to boycott her, not because you don't like her product, not because you think she promotes anything dangerous, but because she privately, without mentioning it on her platform, donated to Trump.
Political opinions immediately invalidated anything that person has said before. Right.
It's so crazy that it went that level. Like if she was promoting some sort of political agenda, I could get it, but this is completely irrelevant to the thing you're upset about, the thing that you're the product you're buying from her.
Crazy.
Remember when Mark Zuckerberg had barbecue sauce on his shelf? I question that. I don't question someone's political opinions. I'm like, if there's like someone who, I'm thinking about this woman who's talking about taking care of babies or whatever it is, and then you passively find out there's like a Trump hat in the background, and they're like, oh, everything she's ever done is called into question. I'm like, well, the Trump hat I get. It's the barbecue sauce on the shelf I don't get.
Well, that just is deranged, whereas this is like...
What is wrong with this man?
It was just weird. Like for a while after that Brett Desvix, who's on Pop Culture Crisis, I would like bring him my Sweet Baby Ray's like barbecue packages. It's like for you, my friend.
Okay, like to be honest, like maybe he went grocery shopping and he
just put it on his bookshelf.
Right, he put it on his bookshelf for some reason.
What? You think his bookshelf is so close to his kitchen that he got confused? Like, did he short circuit? I don't buy this at all. But again,
okay, see that sparks debate. Like someone having a Trump hat, I'd just be like, oh. Someone having a Biden had to go, oh. Look,
Yeah.
I get that. I understand the motivations and ideas behind those things. If I'm watching a guy and he's like, here's how you apply like vinyl flooring. And then he's like, it's like playing elevator music as he's like, take the vinyl flooring piece and click it in before pressing it down. And he's wearing a Biden shirt. I'd be like, well, yeah, I get it. I don't care. I mean, he's helping me put my floor together.
Right.
But man, people.
But he probably put it together wrong and biasly because he voted for Biden. You know,
That actually-
like, that's the equivalent of what they said about this like girl who's giving you parenting advice. Like, well, probably she's going to make your child a white supremacist because she privately supports Trump.
Here's
I think this is
No, go ahead.
I mean, I think this is obviously an investment in two ideas. One, the Democrats have now become the party that believes that polling might not work. So, like, let's rewind 2012. Do you remember the term poll bias? The Republicans had this entire cottage industry that basically tried to quote unskew the polls. There was a guy called the unskewthepolls.com thing. This is how.
No, I don't know.
This is the sort of
12 years ago. Huh?
12 years ago.
Yeah.
This is the extreme end of why Romney HQ thought they would win the election. That basically the polls are fake. And where there's poll bias against Republicans, and so if there's a poll that says that Obama's up 2, the Republicans are really up 4, or something like this. That because people were being canceled even back then for being Republicans, or something like that.
They're saying the poll bias was keeping Mitt Romney down.
Right, yeah. And then in 2016, after the 2012 was basically the polling was right, more or less, the Democrats, uber believed that they would hold the White House, and the Republicans, even the elite Republicans didn't believe that Trump would win, or particularly the elite Republicans, I should state. Trump won, and this cycle kind of repeated, assuming that the Republicans were understated in both the polls. In 2020, Trump was understated in both the polls. It was meaningful enough in 2016 that he became the president. Fast forward, 2024. The Democrats, the shoe is totally on the other foot. Trump is in his strongest polling position that he has been since a politician. I mean, it's unbelievable. His name recognition has never been higher. And you would think that Americans would have had their minds made up one way or the other on Mr. Trump. Not so. He is at the highest point. He's at the apex of his polling career. It's subtle. These are thousands of votes in small states, but he's in the whip position, in command post, politically speaking. Accordingly, the Democrats have to invest in another idea, the power of advertising. We don't know if any of this stuff is going to work, but it doesn't mean that people have to vote for Biden. They just have to merely convince people to stay home. And I think that's what you're seeing with these sort of subtle entreaties. Additionally, Biden's own conception of young people is like everybody under 65 or 55 or 40.
Yeah.
I mean, he really has no idea. I mean, boomers, baby boomers themselves still treat millennials as if they are like 18. I don't know how old this particular influencer, but if she's Gen Z, I believe she's like 22, 23. Mm-hmm. It's utterly pedantic. And in some ways, influencers often fall into this trap themselves. I mean, there's a bit of a verbal tick that she said, that the State of the Union address or whatever, like her lack of confidence. Right. She actually got it right. Like, why she just say the State of the Union address? And I think it creates this complex where they think they can profit.
This seems like
spilling the tea and leaving them on red. All the Gen Z slang.
And it's more transparent advertising, whereas like when Obama was doing it, he was adopting this new tech. And it seemed like genuine to everyone because we're in
a much more nihilistic, cynical age.
Yeah, totally. No one's buying it like they were back then.
I mean, the Obama campaign slogan was
change,
was forward,
hope,
forward in 2012, hope and change in 2008, and then when everything wasn't so great in that first term, it was just like forward, implying
forget that.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.